getting the spirit in the dark.
On this special edition for PBS, a tribute to the trailblazing musical artist who influenced generations, remembering Aretha, the Queen of Soul.
Support for this program has been provided by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
Tell me the way to go, the way to go home. Tell me the way to get to Soulville, baby. That's where I belong. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't be afraid, baby. Just ask me, and I know I'm gonna give it to you. And I don't know why I let you do these things to me. Please stop right away. 'Cause I remember just what he said. And then you follow the fellow who follows a dream.
Hi, I'm Hari Srinivasan with a special remembrance honoring the legendary Aretha Franklin. We're going to take time to explore her influence in the world of music, politics, and why she meant so much to so many. She was a trailblazer, appearing on the cover of Time magazine in 1968 and becoming the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1987. Profiled in 1988 for the American Masters documentary Aretha Franklin, Queen of Soul, she already reigned supreme. Her voice is unforgettable. Her presence was commanding.
I have always maintained that a real man is not going to be intimidated by me. Some men can rise to the occasion and others cannot.
She was born Aretha Louise Franklin in Memphis, Tennessee in 1942, but Detroit, Michigan would become her childhood and lifelong home. Her father was pastor at the New Bethel Baptist Church, where she honed her talent early on, singing in the gospel choir.
The church, certainly gospel are my roots, and it certainly served as a testing ground for me as a singer, as well as many other good things came from the church. And it's just a feeling that you get there that you don't get anywhere else.
For the 1988 American Masters documentary, Aretha Franklin, Queen of Soul, she talked about traveling with her father for church services all around the country.
I was about 14, 15. On the weekends I could go. And he would give me $50 each time. I would sing one or two songs, and it was quite exciting.
She was soon branching out to other genres.
I gained a lot of experience on the road with him. Then I decided I wanted to change fields, so I let him know. And he felt that this was what I wanted to do, and this is what I should do.
After moving to New York at the age of 18, she landed a contract at Columbia Records, but popular success was just out of reach.
I was having what was called turntable hits. Turntable hits are records that get a lot of play, but they did not garner a lot of sales. We wanted hits. Everyone else was having hits, and I didn't have a hit record.
She eventually switched labels, recording her first Billboard hit for Atlantic Records in 1967. She was 25 years old.
And I'm stuck like glue, 'cause I ain't never loved a man the way that I love you.
My first big record there was I Never Loved a Man. That was my first million-selling record. I never loved a man the way I love you.
That was her first of 73 songs that made it into the Billboard Top 100. For decades, the soul sound of Aretha Franklin would earn her critical acclaim and the title of Queen of Soul. She won 18 Grammys and once even substituted for opera great Luciano Pavarotti at the awards in 1998. Franklin earned the Presidential Medal of Freedom, performed with some of the greatest musical artists, and devoted a good deal of her life to civil rights causes. Her death brought people to vigils across the country, from the Apollo Theater in New York to her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in California. Civil rights icon John Lewis tweeted, "We have lost one of the great artists of our time. Aretha Franklin was one of God's precious gifts to the world, one of God's shining jewels. She is deeply loved by millions of people as the Queen of Soul. Her voice is still a guiding light to vocalists today." Former President Barack Obama tweeted, "Aretha helped define the American experience. In her voice, we could feel our history, all of it, and in every shade, our power and our pain, our darkness and our light, our quest for redemption, and our hard-won respect. May the Queen of Soul rest in eternal peace." Carole King, "What a life, what a legacy. So much love, respect, and gratitude." Sir Elton John said, "The loss of Aretha Franklin is a blow for everybody who loves real music, music from the heart, the soul, and the church. Her voice was unique, her piano playing underrated. She was one of my favorite pianists." Dan Rather tweeted, "The wondrous chorus of America, at its best, has lost a powerful voice. Aretha Franklin shook the heavens and our own complacency with her spirit, and by tackling life with power and purpose. #respect." Joining me now in the studio is Todd Stereo Williams, a music writer, culture critic, and host of the Genius Deja Vu podcast on Spotify, and Daphne Brooks, professor in the Department of African American Studies at Yale University, who's authored numerous articles on race, gender, and popular music culture. Thank you both for joining us. First, let me start with this kind of a bigger picture question. How do you begin to measure the influence that Aretha Franklin has had on American music?
I think if you ask the question, who has she influenced, the answer is, who has she not influenced? She transformed modern singing. She delivered to the popular realm a kind of emotive intensity, an intelligence in terms of her virtuosic level of vocalizing that had not been heard on the pop music radio, format before. So without Aretha, you don't have generations of singers who are able to take that kind of gospel thread, the melisma, when you're piling notes into a single syllable, and using that as a way in which to construct a song's kind of drama. The difference between Aretha and everyone who came after her, for the most part, save for a few, is that she was able to bring a kind of detail and a kind of depth and a kind of existential, cathartic meaning to how she used her voice. And that's why we consider her the greatest singer of all time in pop music culture, and someone who changes the way that everyone else sings.
Everybody here is happy. He's got everybody here. Got his hand. He's got everybody here in his hands. And the whole world has his hand.
Also, I think, she's a huge benchmark, I think, for singer-songwriters. She penned so many great songs at the end of the 60s. Her voice is so amazing, you almost take for granted how amazing a songwriter she is. And when you think about the Joni Mitchells and the Carole Kings and the Roberta Flacks and Minnie Riperton, all these artists who emerged in the 70s who we associate with the singer-songwriter movement, I think Aretha is definitely sort of at the vanguard of that movement, and it trickles all the way down to later artists like Mary J. Blige and Jill Scott. She's a template for everything from the singer-songwriter to the gutsy, emotive, soulful singer to like the power balladeer of like a Whitney Houston or a Mariah Carey or a Celine Dion. She's the mold for everybody.
There's almost a pre and a post Aretha era in the kind of impact that she had on music.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you have this whole tradition that Aretha knew very well, the great blues singers of the 1920s, Bessie Smith, Ma Rainey. You have the Dinah Washington she idolized, who's the pop singer who brings together blues and jazz in the post-war era. You have the Mahalia Jackson, the Clara Ward, right? The iconic gospel singers that she would have come up in the church, not only hearing but engaging with. They were coming through her legendary father's home, C.L. Franklin, civil rights activist, preacher, legendary, Detroit icon. So she's pulling all of that history together, but then it's also the moment in which, of course, in the context of Black Power and the civil rights movement, movement and her engagement with those movements that she is transforming all of that musical history into a kind of political feeling that manifests itself in her voice.
In fact, there's a clip from American Masters, Aretha Franklin, Queen of Soul. Let's take a look.
Dr. King was a wonderful, wonderful, fine man, as well as a civil rights leader. He and my dad were great friends.
If Martin needed money, he could make one phone call to Reverend Franklin, and that money was there. Also, that Reverend Franklin could deliver his daughter over whatever record executives or managers would say, and I think that was Aretha's uniqueness. You didn't go through an agent to get Aretha. You went through her daddy.
He very definitely had an appreciation for gospel music. One of his favorite songs was Precious Lord, and he would always ask me to sing that for him.
And the wind's drill right now. But all we need is you, Jesus, to linger right here.
You know, there's a clip in there where Dick Gregory goes on to talk about how you saw Martin Luther King Jr. on the news every once in a while, but you turn on the radio, you heard Aretha Franklin 3 or 4 times an hour, right? That she was a bona fide superstar, that she was lending her credibility, her gravity to the movement. I mean, there's very few people that were crossing over that big that day.
It's a testament to her as an artist that she could be affiliated with what was seen by some as so divisive and so troubling, and still maintain her stature as sort of, she was anointed the queen, you know, it seemed like the moment she broke through.
Yes.
And it was fitting, you know, it seemed like she deserved to be called the queen immediately. And for her to be, as you mentioned, such a huge star, and still so connected, still so visibly connected in the public eye to what was happening to black people should not be downplayed. It's a huge part of her life.
Rock steady, baby, that's what I feel now. Let's all song exactly what it is. Step feeling from side to side. Sit yourself down in the car and take a ride. While you're moving, rock steady, baby. We won't call the song exactly what it is, what it is, what it is, what it is.
Here's a woman who sang at MLK Jr.'s funeral and at Barack Obama's inaugural.
Right.
I come treated of the sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing.
Let's talk a little bit also just about her physical voice, which is almost unique, especially at the time that she came about. Here's another clip.
Her voice is one of the great natural instruments I've ever heard, and the way she uses it is just so instinctive and so beautiful. She knows exactly what she wants.
Aretha was raised in the church, and so was I. I mean, you know, I guess your music, I mean, what's in your body, I mean, what's in your soul, or the way you came up is somehow or another will come out through your fingers or come out through your vocal cords or whatever.
She doesn't ever seem to hit a note straight on. I mean, most singers go for a note, whereas Aretha will bend up to it and then go above it. It doesn't, like, she never settles anywhere, and it's very much like an instrument, really.
We call it squalling. When Aretha reaches for a note to express a feeling, that is very typically gospel. When she does these wonderful runs that no one else does better than she does, that's typically gospel. So everything that she does, she still carries forth her gospel training.
So for some of us who are not musically trained, what is it about this voice that allows her to go from R&B and gospel and jazz to opera? I mean, it's such a broad range.
you know, the richness of how she immersed herself in all of those genres, I think she had a kind of fortitude to do that came from the church, and that kind of bedrock of you know, confidence in how you embrace the song in order to express some kind of larger truth. So there's a kind of honesty to her aesthetic interpretation that I think moves her through all of these different realms of expressiveness.
I mean, this is a woman who was able to fill in for Luciano Pavarotti at the Grammys, and it was not a big deal for her. It would have been incredible pressure for any other singer anywhere.
When you hear Aretha, there's a grace and a power and a skill and a technique all happening at the same time. And I think that her jazz discipline, and just little facts like her learning piano, teaching herself piano as a kid, it speaks to a certain level of discipline. Like a lot of times when you hear a singer that's a very powerful singer, a very versatile singer, a very skilled singer, and they can kind of beat a song to death with their voice. You know, you heard great singers oversing all the time. We can name names, we won't today. But I've never heard Aretha Franklin oversing anything. Even while giving these amazing performances, it always feels like you're watching someone who's preternaturally gifted, but also extraordinarily disciplined and knows exactly what they're doing. It always feels free, but never sort of unrestrained and wild. She's always sort of able to hit the right spots and get back to where the song is. It's a beautiful thing to hear, a beautiful thing to witness in almost every facet of her career in every genre she dabbled in.
And intelligence, I would just say, right? This is what defines a musical genius, right? It's to be able to take the song as an object and really study it carefully, really think about all of its contours, all of its richness, and extrapolate that and then deliver it to the listener. I mean, that takes skill and discipline and a real kind of sophistication as a thinker about music and, again, about storytelling.
Absolutely.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that grit that comes in to her music. Some of it from her own life. She didn't have a phenomenal childhood. And she had her own child when she was 12 and 15. Her mother passes early on in her own life. And she has a series of really bad relationships in her life with men, too. And that comes out in the music.
I don't think many people know this, and this is a test to her elegance and all of the different things that we love about Aretha that people didn't focus on this, but she was a teen mom. You know, by the time she moved to New York City, she had already had 2 children, and she ends up having 4 sons. So I think that kind of, you know, the challenges that she faced, as many women face, and especially young women who are raising children with a beloved family and community around her, that still comes out, I think, you know, in terms of the maturity of how she, you know, moved through her career and performed.
And navigating that as, you know, the Reverend's daughter.
Yes.
Preacher's kid, yeah.
Yeah, navigating that, you know, at a time when that meant a lot, you know, especially that Reverend's daughter. For her to be able to navigate that. And she was so adamant about not allowing the press, and, you know, she was very protective of her history. She wasn't always forthcoming about things that had gone on in her personal life when she was young. And you respect that in hindsight, because it helped her sort of dominate the narrative. Like, she wasn't going to let you paint her in the way that you might have wanted to paint her, especially given the time and how convenient it would have been to turn her into sort of this tragic, you know, rags to riches story. You never really got that from her history, but you got that from her music. You got that from her vocal and from her piano playing and from her songwriting. She could communicate vulnerability and pain without ever sounding weak or like she was diminished in any way.
Let's also talk about the arrangement of Respect. I mean, when Otis Redding wrote the song, but then when Aretha Franklin sang the song, the meanings that people took out of it, whether it's for the civil rights movement or you go all the way down to the Blues Brothers movie, and it's a feminist anthem by then. Right. But it's really, I mean, her arrangement, her ability to rethink and refeel a song is pretty underrated when we think think about all of the stuff that she's done.
I don't think there's another cover that you could say is greater. You know, it has to be the greatest cover of all time because it's such a definitive song, and the spin on that perspective is so significant, given that it's coming from a black woman at a time when black women are asserting themselves and asserting their voices into pop culture in a way that you hadn't up to that point.
You know, Aretha's performance of Respect was really about trying to claim a different kind of social space. And I agree with my colleague here that we had never heard on the pop charts before like that, a kind of female assertion at that moment in time, and voiced through a black woman in the wake of the Moynihan Report, which pathologized African American women and mothers. There was a way in which that kind of reclamation of voice anticipated, you know, not only the Black Power movement, but the kind of cultural revolution and the iconicity of certain kinds of black women, say, on the screen. We think of Blaxploitation and Pam Grier. You know, we can think of all of the grand soul singers that come up behind Aretha in the 70s. She kicked open the door for both that kind of cultural representation and also that kind of social critique of you know, the oppression of African American women that we've seen across the centuries.
Well, one of the reasons that we're having this outpouring of a reaction from all over the world, from musicians who might have been her contemporaries, musicians that came generations after her, fans of different generations, is that she figured out a way to adapt to the times. And it seems she figured out a formula 20 years, 30 years, 40 years after what you would have thought was, okay, here she is at her peak in 1967 or 68, right? Who would have thought the George Michael duet would be the thing that puts her back on top of Billboard 100 again?
There were so many artists. I mean, it's well documented that the 80s weren't exactly kind to a lot of 60s artists. Even some who had hits, you look back and a lot of those hits are kind of embarrassing. With Aretha, it feels like a lot of that music was natural to her. Even the stuff that might not have been as huge on the pop charts. Like, I'm a big fan of some of the stuff she did with Luther Vandross and Marcus Miller during that time. It all sounds comfortable. It doesn't really sound like she's reaching just to grab whatever's hot at the moment. And granted, you know, Clive Davis is Clive Davis, so we know there was some marketing. It wasn't just, you know, there was some savvy behind it, but it came across organically. When she's singing with George Michael, when she's singing with Annie Lennox, when she's covering the Rolling Stones, it still felt like Aretha, even up through the 90s when she's, you know, working with Lauryn Hill and Mary J. Blige, like, it always kind of felt like it was her. Whatever phase she was in, it felt like whatever phase she was in, not like Aretha trying to find some new thing.
I think those artists really rose to try to meet her.
Right.
The Lauryn Hill collaboration is one of my favorites. A Rose is Still a Rose. And it really sort of beautifully encapsulated those two artists, really affirming a kind of you know, potent black feminist sound that was of the moment. And the fact that, you know, Aretha was going to work with Lauryn, who was at that moment in time sort of the torchbearer, you know, and still I would say is, and has performed in her honor just as she did for Nina Simone. But there's a way that that kind of communion said so much about the history of black women's popular music sound, and honoring Aretha as being, you know, the progenitor of that sound.
You know, the most recent clip that a lot of people might have remembered watching was that sort of viral moment at the Kennedy Center. And you didn't have to know anything about music, anything about Aretha Franklin, but you could just see there was something happening on stage and that you were lucky to witness it.
I mean, it was extraordinary for so many reasons, not the least of which had to do with the fur coat, right, and the purse at the piano, but also her being at the piano, which, you know, we want to also acknowledge her being this just remarkable musician and an accompanist, accompanying herself, coming up in the church playing piano and kind of understanding that sort of, dynamic dialectic between voice and instrument that she was able to play out. And to see that again, we hadn't seen that in so long. It took everyone by surprise. It was riveting. The song itself, too, Natural Woman, just has a kind of drama and power and beauty to it. It is an ethical anthem in terms of what it says about what it means to be human as African American, as a woman. All of that came together, was crystallized in that moment again. And I thought about that a lot yesterday. I thought about what it meant for that to be her last great performance. She wrote her own narrative again. This is how I'm going out.
You look at a modern artist like Alicia Keys, and it's kind of like, that's still Aretha. That being able to sit down at the piano and accompany yourself on a hip hop record, not a whole lot of people can do that. And that's still a part of what Aretha Franklin sort of showed the world. And she kind of epitomizes it better than almost anyone you can name. I can't think of another voice that great that can play that well. Being
able to showcase the Black female body as this wondrous instrument was its own kind of revolution. And we saw that again at the Kennedy Center.
Absolutely.
Daphne Brooks, Stereo Williams, thank you both.
Thank you.
We're going to leave you now with some more from the legendary Queen of Soul. I'm Hari Srinivasan. Thanks for watching.
With respect to maintaining my title as the Queen of Soul, it's second nature to me. And I think just being myself, the rest will take care of itself.
Support for this program has been provided by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.